So I first discovered DC the Dawn when I first heard No Melody. Whenever I actually started really liking that song and playing it over and over again, I listened to Red Light, another banger, and then Mr. Not Nice, which is also an amazing song. And I noticed that he had announced he was dropping his first album, Come As You Are. Now, this is during a time where my musical ears were a lot less, I don't want to say a lot less pleased. They were very differently pleased and a lot different. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I heard this, I was like, oh, it's going to be nonstop angry sounding bangers because back then, if the beat didn't get a hold of me in the first 10 seconds, I didn't like it. You know, I didn't like these slower songs. I liked lit bangers. You know what I'm saying? I wanted them hard hitters. That was the type of music taste that I liked. And the first time I heard Come As You Are, when I realized it wasn't filled with those type of songs, I wasn't as enjoyable to songs that weren't hard-hitting bangers, but about 3 months later, I play it, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and my more evolved ears were more acceptable of it. I realized how good the album was. You got songs like Stop Being So Nice, NASCAR Racer, Campfire Story, Worst Day. That, oh my god, there's Emotions Pour to me is a very underrated DC the Dawn song. And even then, Red Light's still on that song. It's a bonus track, but Red Light's a good song. But this was also different to a lot of other DC the Dawn songs because whenever he had dropped his mixtape, DC Dahmer, he was making very different music. DC Dahmer, which you should be seeing an image of right now, is basically this angry music, this murderer music, this Dahmer music. But instead, it was becoming more, I don't want to sound emotional, that sounds wrong, but it started to sound a lot more ambitious, a lot less kind of rinse and repeat, a lot less kind of basic too, a lot more evolved, just a lot more sound. He started to experiment with his melodies. He realized how good of a voice he has, how good he is at melodies. Started to mess with that auto-tune, which he manages to make sound really great. And it just became, he was evolving past this angry teenager music stage. You know what I'm saying? Rave stage. And that is where Come As You Are comes into play. This is the start of DC the Dawn's ever-growing musical change and evolution in his music and his style. And this is not the first time it changes very significantly. As time goes by, I start to realize that DC's dropping a lot more. You have this song right here, Notice Me. As I put in my top 5 DC the Dawn songs, this is one of my favorite DC Dawn songs he's ever dropped. And you start to notice he's evolving his sound even more. His mixing, I noticed in his music, that's a very weird thing to notice, but I feel like it is his mixing just got better. His melodies start improving a lot more. Lyrics start improving. His vibes, his the feeling whenever you're listening to his music starts to improve with songs like this, Ghost Rider, and another one of my favorites is What Now? The year that this song dropped, it was my most replayed song on Spotify. I rediscovered it recently and it inspired me to make this video, and honestly, it probably would have been on my top 5 DC the Dawn songs. This song is so good. It's so energetic. I'm pretty sure this is whenever he dyed his dreads all red or right before he did that because, he was starting to do the rollout for his next album. This era right here is to me whenever DC the Dawn might not have necessarily been in his peak. Actually, honestly, yeah, this was kind of, in my opinion, peak DC the Dawn as of right now, and he's kind of getting back into that, but this right here, the two split personalities, to me, this is when DC got really interesting because you actually started to really notice his uniqueness, his variation, his versatility, and the two personalities, the one on the right is Rage Kid. No, that's Donnie. I'm stupid. That's Donnie, and the one on the left is Rage Kid. No, it's the other way around. I'm retarded. Don't listen to me. The one on the right is Rage Kid, and the one on the left is Donnie. Donnie being the more sweeter sided one. This is where singles like PSA and Arrest Me come into play. because, they're the softer, they're the more singing, more melodies, more stuff like that, more spiritual production, stuff like that. And then Rage Kid is obviously rage music, you know? Evil sounding music. Back to that no melody type sounding, but this is also when rage beats were kind of starting to get popular, and he was using those more, except I think DC the Dawn is one of the best rappers at using them because of his energy and his flow that he brings along with it. This banger right here, Reroute, is a very good example, very good beat by Jetson Made, by the way, is a very good example of the Rage Kid sound, this angry sound, this evil type sound. You know what I'm saying? It's the start of that. It's a good example. It's a good single from the album for that. I actually remember the wait for this album being so freaking long. I was so hyped for it because I was putting DC the Dawn onto my friends. One of my friends, Chase, I remember me and him used to talk about how good, like, Worst Day was. And, DC this is whenever he was climbing my favorite rapper chart very, very quickly. I remember loving songs. I showed NASCAR Racer to my mom. She loves that song. My aunts my aunts who at the time were living with me, they're like my sisters, they were starting to listen to DC the Dawn and they were liking him. So I'm giving him to my family, and I'll only do that if I really, really like an artist or a song and I feel like they don't know who it is. And it was making me happy, because I've had this new artist that I feel like only I knew. Because this is back when DC the Dawn, he isn't mainstream now, obviously, but I definitely would not call him underground. This is before he was starting to get a lot of a lot of notice. This was, I shouldn't say that. This was around the start of it. You know what I'm saying? This was the beginning of the DC the Dawn, getting a lot of fame. And this might sound extremely stupid, but a good way to look at DC the Dawn phases on him growing in popularity is looking at his jewelry. I'm pretty sure this was right before, in the middle of him getting that iced out grill that he is constantly wearing now. This was around that time. So obviously around before he started making a bunch of money, This was just before he started to get a lot of big name attention. And then the album drops. So the album drops, right? And it meets my expectations on being really good. Honestly, better than what I thought it was going to be. And then it continues to grow. It continues to get even better to me. A lot of the Donnie songs, honestly, are they grow on me a lot. They started to grow on me. I Love You is an amazing song. What's it called? Oh my God, what's it called? I Want to Be Your Friend. What's it called? Oh no, I'm looking. I Want You. That's an amazing song. I Miss You, another great one. I think the best DC the Dawn song, Futurama 2099, is on this song, along with Heartbreak Summer 3. You have amazing songs off this project. And this is honestly also the best rage music I've probably ever heard. Enemies is amazing. Homicide, amazing. Very, very great songs. They're perfect. They're not perfect's crazy, but they're amazing songs. And it's the smooth section, I honestly do think is better. The Donnie section, the more lover section, because that's the softer music I've started to like more as I've aged up. Honestly, that sounds stupid, but I mean, it's true. But this album is great. This is a fantastic album. This album and Come As You Are, I feel like are both fantastic. They are, but sometimes I have to pick between the two, and that's a very hard task to do, picking between these two projects. So I tend to try to avoid having to if I need be. So then it's time for the next album, which this was also around the time that I wasn't paying as close of attention to DC because, I was exploring other avenues of music. I was exploring more artists. This was around the time that my appreciation and I guess, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just urge to hear more, I wanted to hear new voices. I wanted to hear new music that I really like. This is when I started like discovering a lot of rappers. This is also conveniently, I didn't even notice this until like I'm writing the notes for this video, that this is around the same time that I started falling in love with Future. Like that's so random, but it is. It's around the same time that I started loving Future, but or at least loving him more than I already did. Like I already loved Future, but like exploring a lot of his catalog and stuff is around the same time. But then I discovered his album was going to be called Funeral. And I hear some of the singles for it, like 12 a.m. And what was the other one? I actually do not remember the other one. I ain't going to lie. Tell Cheyenne. There you go. I'm pretty sure Tell Cheyenne was a single. They were pretty good. They were pretty good. They weren't fantastic. I noticed this. The singles were for Funeral weren't as good as the songs for My Own Worst Enemy. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the Sacred Heart Plus mixtape that he did at the beginning of 2023 before the album dropped. This is actually a pretty good mixtape. I ain't gonna lie. That's what it was supposed to be. It was on SoundCloud. I don't actually know how much longer it was on SoundCloud before it was on, before it was on Spotify. But for some reason, Spotify considers it a compilation. I don't really know why it's doing that. I'm assuming because it's like a mixtape, maybe. I really don't know. But a lot of pretty good songs off of this. Umbrella, Shut Up, Headphones, 11:30. I actually really love 11:30. It's a song that I remember him posting the snippet to, and I loved it. I love Breaking Half too. Not really too much to talk about this because you can kind of tell it's just music that he compiled together that he wanted to drop before the project. You know? Just you can just kind of tell it was supposed to be beforehand, you know, like this is a teaser pack. This is a snippet. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of related to what y'all are finna get soon, a little later in the year. Just give me a little bit to like put the finishing touches on it. However, I still like this project, and it obviously it's not gonna do anything. DC the Don, as of right now, probably can't drop anything that's going to significantly hurt how you view his catalog. So, or not his catalog. Yeah, his catalog. I'm an idiot. His catalog. Yeah, and his releases, his discography. There we go. It doesn't hurt his discography. If anything, it helps it. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely prefer all of his albums over this mixtape. Anyway, back to the album. We start to notice. Or I start to notice, I'm sorry, I turned into dyslexic for a minute. I just couldn't read my notes. That the album is dropping soon. And it's called Funeral. And then it drops. Now, when I say this, do not take it wrong. I think the album is great. However, my expectations were extremely high, and it kind of disappointed a little bit. It wasn't as good as I thought I'd been, because DC, for the simple, he spoiled me. It's as simple as that. I was spoiled. My expectations, not my expectations, but Come As You Are, after my ears had like evolved a little bit, was amazing album. And then My Own Worst Enemy, I expect to be a pretty great album. It's pretty great, and then it grows on me, and then it's amazing too. You know, and I'm not even, whenever you say grow on you, or whenever I say grow on me, it almost sounds like I'm calling it, like I didn't like it at first, but I loved it at first, and it got even better to me. You know? The hand motion I just did was crazy. But this album has grown on me a little bit. I definitely think it's better now than I did on release. Because on release, I wasn't really disappointed or anything like that, but I still was, and I mean, I still kind of am. I feel like it was so close. It's on the verge of being in the same conversation as My Own Worst Enemy and Come As You Are. It's on the verge. You know, it's almost there. It's almost there. It's so close to being like the Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan meme, but it's kind of not. It's like the Steve Kerr, you know, great player, but like then you got Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, you know? Something like that. And obviously, whenever I say this, Funeral definitely is not a negative album. If anything, it helps. However, you can still see the evolution in sound, and you can still see the way it's changing. I do think like quite a few of these songs are really good combinations of like the Donnie and Rage Kid personality. You know, you got songs kind of from both sides. You feel me? So it's a lot better. And the deluxe does help this album. The song with Black is actually very good. So obviously that's me saying that like it's not all like faulty. You know what I mean? It's not like it's bad because it's not. I also like Melatonin. Melatonin on the deluxe is a very good song. So whenever I tell y'all that I find the album disappointing, do not think that means bad. You've got Going Stuck, Friends, 12 a.m., Working on Dying, and Bankrupt. Funeral, like, great song. Tell Cheyenne to delete my number. Great song. Love that song. However, I do think it's just not quite there. Now we have one more mixtape to talk about. Sacred Heart 2 comes along, and this kind of also is giving me the same feeling that the first pack gave me. See, DC has started a new album rollout. The album is seemed to be called Rebirth because that's the name that he keeps tweeting, and he has me very excited because I like to think I was one of the very, very, very few people that seen DC the Don tweet Travis Scott and then delete it in like 5 minutes. I'm not crazy. I know I seen it because I went to click on it to see comments and it said this post has been deleted. And it was for like 2 minutes. So guys, DC and Travis Scott have a song coming, just no one's seen it. I know I'm not crazy, but this pack is much better than the first one. And honestly, I think it's better than Funeral. To be honest with you, I don't really know why, but I think it's better than Funeral. First Off and Met at This Party are very good songs. You know, kind of that same thing as Funeral is. It's a combination. You got angry songs and you got these smoother songs. And this kind of lifted DC back up for me. Funeral did not drop him down much. However, it did a little bit. You know, I had to be like, okay, my current state on DC, like I still love him to death. He's still one of my favorite rappers. He's still in my top 10. He's just lower in the top 10 now. He maybe dropped a spot. Just for now until I hear some new drop where he will probably remind me how good he is. And then this drops and he goes back up 2 spaces. You know, it's a reminder. And it's also a teaser, which I hope it's pretty good at. The first Sacred Pack, you can't listen to that and then like tell me how Funeral sounds because it's not really, you know, it's kind of not that. But it's just another collection of music he wanted to drop. Some of them are probably album throwaways that he just found out he didn't want to put on Rebirth, but he still wanted to drop. Just another way of saying it without saying it. You know what I'm saying? It's probably like throwaways from other out because a couple of these sounds like they could have been off My Own Worst Enemy. I think First Off was one of those. Just it's a teaser. It's a teaser, and it's great at it. It's a great mixtape. I love it to death. I actually really like it. DC's most recent release was a 3-song EP that I'm assuming is the very last teaser before we get Rebirth. I love his little cyborg promotion thing he was doing where like half his face is a cyborg. And I've actually talked about one of these songs being one of his best ones that he's ever dropped. I Don't Know, It Depends. Top 5 Travis... No, almost a Travis Scott song because I was talking about that tweet. Top 5 DC the Dawn song. It's amazing. Very good song. And the other 2 are also very good songs. I'm blanking on the name of them right now. The EP, by the way, is called 2012. I forgot to say that. But Mr. Dot, you know, with Super Mario. Very good production. Fully Loaded is a great song. I had to look it up on Spotify. But these are all 3 pretty good songs. And it has me excited for what we're going to hear on Rebirth. It does. Has me very excited. Very, very, very excited. We'll probably start hearing singles from it soon. By the way, one thing I've loved is how DC the Dawn like changes his hair a lot for his rollouts. That's so random, but I love it. Like the red and black for Funeral, bringing it back to that, or like how the split personalities, Donnie had black and Rage Kid had red, or how the other way around. I don't, honest to God, I don't remember which personality was which, or I don't remember which name goes to which, but I know there was split personalities. I mean, the names really don't matter, but I love the fact he's changed his hair a lot. The only thing is I don't like his like skin color hair. Not, I guess skin color is what you call it. I think now they're white. I don't know if he was just doing that for 2012. I don't know if that's going to be the theme for Rebirth is his white dreads, because I'm pretty sure they're still that color, but I might be completely wrong. He might have went back to fully red or fully black or red and black. I hope he goes to red and black. I think red and black is fire. But DC the Don has very avidly changed throughout my listening of him, and something you'll notice is this video is so much longer than the Big Baby Gucci one. Is that because I wanted the video to be more better done this time around. I didn't want it to be as quickly made. I wanted to really talk about the albums and my opinions and how I noticed him in my growing and changing opinion of him. If anything, Big Baby Gucci's has got worse. DC the Don's has got better. Every time DC the Don drops, I've looked at him better. Or the Funeral, I didn't really look at him any better. I looked at him more the same way, you know? Not necessarily negatively, because negatively would mean like I think of him as a worse rapper and a worse song creator because of it. I don't. Funeral it was still ambitious, it just, little miss, you know? It wasn't the bullseye, it was the non-pointer, you know what I'm saying? Or like the section next to it on a dartboard, you know what I'm talking about? You know the analogy I'm trying to make here. It wasn't the bullseye that it could have been. That doesn't mean that it wasn't a great shot. Still love it, you know? I still love DC, like the DC style. I love the fact that it wasn't necessarily a different sound, it was a different version of it, where it's kind of a combination of his last two personalities, and it managed to make a great album. Come As You Are, one of my favorite albums. It will probably receive a Why Come As You Are is a classic album. It most likely will at some point. Probably not in the next week or two, but it will. That's actually 2 weeks is a very safe bet, but it will at some point. All right, it's going to, and expect it to be quite a longer video of me gushing over how good that album is. But DC the Don has been, since My Own Worst Enemy, a top 10 rapper. He's one of my most listened to rappers. He's amazing. He has an fantastic replayability. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I love being one of the people that has known about him since before he was pretty big famous. You know, since then, since I've discovered him, he's been on the XXL list. I've watched his jewelry collection go. He got a chain now. He got a little Cuban now. I don't know if it's a Cuban. I don't know jewelry, but he got a nice little necklace. That grill is busting. He's got rings, you know, little diamond rings. He's getting, you can see it. It's getting more evident. His growth and popularity is getting more evident. His shows are getting bigger and more packed out. He's getting bigger venues. I'm sure Milwaukee, Wisconsin knows all about him. And he's only 24. He is young. DC is going to be making music with us, God willing. He doesn't pass away for any reason, you know. He's going to be around for a long time. And I really hope he gets to the heights that he deserves. DC the Don is a great rapper, ladies and gentlemen. If any good has came from this video, I hope I put him on to y'all. Go listen to him. If you made it to the end of the video, you can actually see this video early and other videos early on my Patreon for as little as $1.55 a month. And if you choose other subscriptions, you can get previews of music snippets, whole songs early. And if you get the highest subscription, you might even get you will get a free Fatal K t-shirt every month. Every month. You hear that? Every month you get a free Fatal K t-shirt. Ain't that crazy? And I go on my little merch shop and I make tons of shirts just when I feel like it. I also dropped a new song called Stussy. If you want to go listen to it, it's out everywhere. My new album, Love Letter to My Wife, is pretty much done, basically. I'm going to drop one more single. I've got the album cover for it and everything. And everything will be ready to go. You know, just simple album rollout shtick. You feel what I'm saying? So support me. Hit out this Patreon. Subscribe while you're at it. Listen to the song. Like, comment. Give me engagement. Give me more views. I really hope this video does really good, honestly. I'm betting on it doing really good and y'all making it to the end of the video. Subscribe, bye!